You're welcome back to Channel Sport this morning. Let's take a listen to what the Minister of Sport had to say now when he visited the Handball Federation of Nigeria, the league.
Bringing private money and private participation into sports development is the only way we can succeed. The formula cannot be different for this country because we've seen other countries in Europe and America, North America, that's private-public participation. And I've driven that when it comes to facility management, upgrade, and maintenance. I've been to the stadia across the country. I'm talking to quite a number of people from Dangote to, I'll just keep their names for now, but there's a process going on. But I'm glad to see this model work. We're having conversations with the banks, the financial institutions. We're talking to other A-grade companies to come into sports development. Recall also that apart from football, we've seen some of them also show interest. We like what's going on in football, but then we're going to also drive attention and resources towards other sports. I did promise I will not be a football minister. This is a testimony to it. I've watched basketball games. I'm here for handball. I've watched taekwondo. I've watched table tennis. I've watched badminton. And that's the way it's going to be. We're going to give this sport full attention and support that it deserves. The ministry on its part will not only find some level of funding for them, but the ministry will work with them to also bring on some private companies that will support their work. I did promise him that I want to see his plan for January next year when they're going for international championships, not just support for the league. And then we'll work with him to find one or two big companies or individuals that will bankroll that. And I think that's the model we're going to work on. Government does not have enough funds as it is. There are so many competing demands. Sports development is important, but private partnership is critical, and we're developing a business model around sports. Once that business model is fully developed, we start to implement it incrementally. I think we're going to see sports development begin to pace up over time.
Minister of Youth and Sports, Sunday Dare there, speaking on the plans to develop Nigerian sports, and he said the things a lot of people we know, and the issue now is, get into action, implementing, all these very great ideas he's spoken about. He won't be the first person to do this, by the way.
Tayo. The minister has spoken, but let's break it down. We've heard this several times.
Right.
So you will not blame us if we are now going to just keep our fingers crossed and hold our breath, hoping that he would walk the talk. Because we've heard this talk from virtually every minister that has come through.
Right.
He's made all the right moves, like he said. Like, of course, we also had preempted him to say he would inspect facilities and have these meetings and all of that. Because sports is a very, very dangerous terrain, difficult terrain to navigate. There are vested interest in sports. So the minister also has to be careful, the kind of people that he's working with and talking to. I like all he said about private sector participation, which is what everybody knows is standard. It's a global thing and it must happen. They must take a look at sports betting companies and look for how Nigeria can get a little something back into sports development from these guys also. I'm giving out all these ideas for free because I want Nigeria to move forward. Having said that, he should continually remind himself that he is not a football minister, like he said. So we would remind him too, But we want to see action. It's not only talk. We want to see action. Last year, the NFF, after their elections, set up one think tank and all of that. Tayo, only yesterday or 2 days ago were they meeting and coming up with a plan. Almost a year after. We're talking almost 10 months after. And this is what we notice in Nigerian sports. They say all these nice things when we want to hear them, but they don't put action to their words. And we want action. We're tired of listening to people telling us what should be. Show us what it is.
Show us what it is. That's the main issue right now. So it's over to the authorities to get the job done. Let's move on from handball now. Let's move on to beach volleyball, where Nigeria is presently in Doha, Qatar, taking part in the ANOC World Beach Games. And the coach of the team, John Iwerima, is pretty convinced that Nigeria has what it takes to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, despite the fact that they lost to Canada 2-0, 21-11, 22-20 at the World Beach Games in Qatar.
Yeah, look at the result, 21-11, then 22-20. It shows you that it was really close. You know, the second set was close. Now, Nigeria has a very good beach volleyball history. In recent times, I've always been in the top 3 in Africa. You
Right.
get. So I feel that they can translate this to the global stage and get that ticket that we really require. So we'll be rooting for them and pray that they get this ticket.
All right, then wish the girls all the best as well as they hope to qualify for the Olympics, which is going to take place next year in Tokyo. From beach volleyball now, let's come and go abroad. Let's go abroad and talk about the Stanley Cup champions. Typically, it's a tradition for any league in America. Whenever you're a champion, you get to visit or you get welcomed by the president, the sitting president. And it's not different for St. Louis Blues as the NHL champions, as the Stanley Cup champions, as you want to know them. Yeah, they visited President Donald Trump at the White House yesterday to celebrate their first Stanley Cup championship in 52 years. And it's always a very fun time. You champion at the beat to say something.
Yeah, I am actually.
Let's go.
You said something about it being traditional for the winners of the league to visit the president in power. You know, the president who is in charge.
Sitting, yeah.
You know, but most of the leagues have avoided Donald Trump.
Yep.
The NBA has given him a wide berth. You
True.
get. Other teams have avoided him. So to see the Hockey League guys go, it's a welcome development for him. At least a good distraction from all the other issues that he's facing at the moment. But he seems to be someone who loves his sports. He's not really into the sports, but at least he keeps abreast. Remember when they were playing at the Women's World Cup, at least he tweeted a couple of things, and of course that team refused to go see him too.
All right, then let's take a listen to what President Donald Trump had to tell the St. Louis Blues when they visited the White House yesterday.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor today. It's a great champions behind me, great athletes. I always respect great athletes, but they're also very smart because you can't win unless you're smart. After 52 years, the Blues finally and triumphantly raised the Stanley Cup. That's amazing. 52 years. And you did it in 7, huh? Come here. And the St. Louis Blues' amazing comeback reminds us to never give up, never lose faith, never ever quit. Just keep forging ahead. You never know. Just keep forging ahead. But this team is really exemplary, starting a season so badly where they were in last place and people had written them off. And I think your fans are so loyal, frankly, they don't stop coming, Roy, do they? I don't think so. Josh, what is that? Look at that guy. Look at that mouth of that guy. Come here a minute. Come here. Come here. You think he's taken a few hits? Huh? You think he's tough? You think I could take him in a fight? I don't know.